Joining me now is Terrence Osier. He's the VP of Exploration at Strathmore plus Uranium. Good to see you, Terrence. Thanks for doing this.
Good morning. Thank you, Mark. Nice to be here.
Now, we've talked to the team on a number of occasions, but not for a while. So maybe it's good to start initially with a refresher, a reminder for our viewers about the projects that the company has in Wyoming, specifically the main focus right now on the agate project.
Certainly. Well, we'll start with the agate project. It's located a few hours east of here where I live in central Wyoming, over by Casper. It's in the Shirley Basin district. It was the second largest mining district in Wyoming, probably easily one of the top 10 in the United States at the time. It's a potential in-situ recovery project. It's hosted in sandstone. The Beaver Rim project, which is about an hour east of where I live here, is again another one of these sandstone hosted projects. It's located above the Gas Hills Uranium District, where 110 million pounds of uranium was mined. It was the largest mining district in Wyoming in the 60s and 70s. And that project is deeper than the agate project, and we can go over that later. And then the third project we have is called Night Owl. It's a hard rock deposit. It's east of the Shirley Basin area, and we've done some drilling on that project also in the past and some geophysics with the University of Wyoming. So those are the three projects that we have.
Now, in terms of agate, the Strathmore team completed phase 1 drilling, and the focus was on the middle and lower sand trends. So can you sort of explain that a little bit as to what the goals of the program were and some of the highlights so far?
Okay, well, we'll go back to 2023. We went out there, we drilled 100 holes. It was on the north area. It was the northern trend, and it's in the lower sand. So what you have out in the Shirley Basin, you have the lower sand, the middle sand, and the upper sand. Each is mineralized. The upper sand was never mined. The middle sand was the predominant producer in Shirley Basin. Probably 75 to 80% of all the mineralization, the ore that was mined out there came from the middle sand, and then the lower sand would have been, the other 20-25% production. So when we were drilling in 2023, we found mineralization in the lower sand. So we extended that out for several thousand feet. And then last year, in 2024, we went back out onto the project, drilled another 100 holes. We expanded the northern trend and found an area to the southwest of it that we believe will meet up with those two trends will meet together. And then we went to an area was the southeast, and there was some drilling down there. The historical drill data, I couldn't read it. It was illegible. So we drilled there, and surprisingly, we found mineralization, what was the lower sand and the middle sand. And that was unexpected. It's very shallow. It's anywhere from 15 to 50 feet deep down in that area. And then this year, so we concentrated again on the northern trend, extending it 1,500 feet, I believe, to about a mile long. And again, it was all in the lower sand, but we started catching up some middle sand, it was below cutoff grade mineralization. So that's exciting. So we went back down again to the southeast trend where it's in the middle sand, and we expanded that both laterally along trend, but also in width. And our goal next year, of course, will be to go out and expand both those trends, the one north and the northern trend further north and east. We also pulled some core. That was difficult this year because of the nature of the mineralization and the deposit out there. But we have that material. It's down at the University of Wyoming's core lab and their geophysics department, geology department, and they're going to be doing some geochemical studies on it to complement their groundwater studies they've been doing out on our project, and to complement their geophysics project also. So that's where we were at with our project this year. So we've expanded the project areas in both the northern trend and that southeast trend.
And I'm glad you touched on that arrangement that the company has with the University of Wyoming, which is interesting. Now, you touched on it there a little bit, the plans for next year. So can you give us a little more flesh on the bones in terms of next steps at agate phase 2 drilling?
Well, for the phase 2 drilling, like I said, we have about 50 more holes we can drill in our current permit. We're permitted for 5 acres of surface disturbance. We did a bunch of reclamation this year on it. So what we have to do this winter, we're working on a plan of operation, which will expand how much footprint we're allowed to disturb out there, how much more drilling we can do. So we have to work on that. We're going to be working on a technical report for the project this winter. And then hopefully next year we can go out and drill another 100 holes, expanding this into the area that we drilled, that we claimed last year and this previous year, expanded into those areas. What we want this deposit to do is go northeast where it gets deeper. It's under more of the groundwater, so more likely that it can be in situ recovered. So that's our expansion project for this winter, is to get this plan of operation completed and get the BLM, the Department of Environmental Quality, to expand our permit.
Terrence, investors always like milestones to look forward to, and you sort of touched on it there. And I'm not going to pin you down to a certain date, but the plan is for a technical report sometime in 26.
Yes, I would hope. I would like to put one out this winter. We're going to evaluate it for a mineral resource estimate. We're going to evaluate the potential on the project. So if you have a small pod area one here and you have another pod in another, what's the expansion potential between those? That's our goal. Yeah, is to put together all this data, put together all the geologic report into one technical report, and hopefully we come up with a mineral estimate on the project.
Now, you've said just a while ago that the ultimate goal is to have an in situ recovery project, and one of your neighbors is doing just that, and a little bit ahead of Strathmore Plus, UR Energy, and they're also in the Shirley Basin. So, is it essentially you want to follow in their path? I would think.
Well, absolutely. The UR Energy project is in the area called it's the old Lucky Mac project. That was the very first area in the United States where they tested and were able to commercially, generate uranium for 8-9 years. And they are building a satellite operation. It's about 5-6 miles northeast of our project where we're at, in that area where in situ mining was first operated. I believe when that operation comes online, it's going to surprise people at how well it operates and how much uranium they will leach. Shirley Basin is known for high porosity, high permeability, and high transmissivity of groundwater through the sandstones. And we noted that it seemed, the driller told us we had really lovely sandstone where we were over there. And he said, you could build some nice water wells out of this stuff. So we have, our northern trend is saturated. And so we believe we could build up a project if we could get a couple million pounds, 2-3 million pounds, as a small satellite operation. Let's say you could leach 250,000 pounds a year or something out of it. It's shallow. It's only 150 feet deep.
All right, very good. And lastly, Terrence, on a broader perspective with the uranium and nuclear sectors, we know that there are a lot of tailwinds. They're continuing, if not accelerating. We saw that deal this week with the U.S. government teaming up with Cameco and Brookfield, and Cameco's stock shot higher on that. So against that positive backdrop, maybe you can wrap up your thoughts for us and give us sort of the bullet point investment case for Strathmore Plus Uranium.
Well, I'm looking at the date right now. I've been here 21 years minus 2 days. November 1st of 2021, 2004 is when I first started with the original Strathmore Minerals Corporation as their first employee. And I look back on that day and it was $20 a pound. And 3 years later, we hit 140. And back then, we didn't have a deficit of mining like we do today. People are talking about a deficit of 40-50 million pounds a year. And every day, it seems like a new country, a new company is saying, we're going to build more power plants. It's like, well, where are you guys going to get this uranium from? The United States will be lucky we, produce 1 million pounds this year, and we need 50. Donald Trump said we want to quadruple our fleet to 400 reactors. So we're talking 200 million pounds, 150, 200 million pounds a year. I believe, like you said, it's tailwinds. That was big news this week for Cameco. They were up 24%. It was an amazing day. Back in 2021, when John and Deb and I got together to put together Strathmore, it was November 2nd. That very morning, this is 4 years ago, the Chinese came out and said, we're going to build 150 reactors. It was stunning. Uranium went from $30 that day to $108 in less than a year and a half, 2 years. So it's inevitable. We have to have power. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and AI is just gobbling up more and more power.
All right, that great perspective on that, Terrence, in terms of the sector and the tailwinds and where Strathmore fits in. Well, thanks for this. We'll be following, and let's do it again down the road.
Absolutely. Nice to see you.
Okay, you as well. That's Terrence Osier, VP of Exploration at Strathmore Plus Uranium. Our thanks to him, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.